Hi, and welcome to the final installment of my Walthers contest entry journey. I've been very busy working late nights right up until the final 2 days to enter, but now it's submitted and I can finally start sleeping again. I don't have video of the final build process because I simply ran out of time. I did record some footage of building the second part of the factory, but it's not enough to make a standalone video, as half of it was simply figuring out where to chop and cut to get it to fit. We're going to look at the entry, starting with the short video I made telling the story, and then the pictures that were submitted. And after that, I want to talk a little bit about what went well and what didn't. And now, here's the video. This is the story of a farm and its environs. The farm was founded over a century ago. Then the railroad came through, and the town and the farm prospered. Generations were raised here, and life was good. Slowly, though, things began to change. Then that pace skyrocketed. Farms got bigger and corporate. The local factories downsized, then shut down entirely as production moved overseas. And the railroad, instead of carrying crops and goods produced here to markets near and far, began to carry goods made far away through here to places beyond. The family farm couldn't compete with the giants, and most of the family left to build their lives elsewhere. The farm was abandoned and overtaken by nature. But in the battle that is life, it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down, as long as you get up one time more. The factory is back on its feet, having been sold, and is once again building things here. People are realizing that there are things more important than just the lowest price. A train crew is putting the spurs serving the factory back into service, clearing the overgrown brush and reconditioning the track. And a young family is breathing life back into the farm, starting a new chapter in its book of adventures. And that is the story behind my entry into Walthers National Model Railroad Build-Off 2022. As you can see, I worked on it right up to the wire. I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching. Now let's talk about some of the things that went well and didn't go well. I would say the first thing that went well was telling the story. And I think that's really the most important thing you can do with a diorama like this, is have a story to tell and base everything in it around telling that story. So I think that worked well. The second thing is that I didn't have a set front or back or sides to it. I wanted to have something interesting to look at from every angle. And I think that helps too. You can do something that has a, is a set scene like a stage, but for something like this, that's what I wanted to do, is have, something cool to look at no matter where you were, something interesting, and I think that helped. The third thing is the 3D printed trees. I wanted to have the type of trees you see in a forest where they grow up fast, fighting for the light, and they're bare with no branches down low until you get to the very top. And there was no way I could have done that with commercial trees that I know of. They all seem to be suburban lawn trees, where they're, symmetric and round and full, and they don't have any of the scars of having to battle for light with other trees. Another thing that went well was on the figures I did the zenithal shading with filters, where you prime them black, then spray them with white from an angle that the light's coming from. I picked the sun kind of coming from the south on the diorama and shaded them that way, and that group really turned out well. Even when you have a diffuse overhead light, you can see that the sun is supposed to be coming from a certain direction, and they're dark on one side, light on the other side. The last thing that worked well was using the Sculpey oven baked clay for the parking lot and the road. And it was nice because you can put a crown in the road. If you look at an asphalt road, it will have a profile like that where the wheels travel down. There'll be little troughs. And then it'll also have a crown to it. And you can do whatever you want with that sort of clay. And in the parking lot, I used the black clay and sanded it a little bit. And it looks, I think, really well for worn asphalt without any paint. Now let's talk about the things that could use some improvement and didn't work that well. I would say the very first thing is the scope of the project. I bit off way too much on this. I didn't need this whole factory complex. I could have told the story I wanted to tell with just the farm. The second thing that I can improve on, I was learning how to shoot and edit video while I was doing this. And that took up a lot of time. It was a very steep learning curve, especially at first, which put me into the bind at the end. I would suggest either do a real simple vlog style or learn to shoot the video at some other time, not when you're in a contest with a deadline. Third thing that didn't go well was this. This is my train element. Right? This is a cast metal kit. They're garbage. Building that was a cross between, I would say, finishing somebody else's scratch build project and making a carving out of butter. The metal is weak. It was dented and bented and malformed in the bag it came in. It doesn't like to glue. It doesn't like to prime. It doesn't like to paint. In this particular kit, a bunch of parts were missing. It could look really nice if they would have made it out of resin instead of, pot metal. It would have been much better because you could at least glued it together and painted it. But that was a pain. And the last thing that went kind of wrong was in the video I was building the base, gluing the XPS foam. I tried standard PVA glue, which doesn't ever cure. Then I went to contact cement, which melts it, which I should have known. Any sort of petrochemical is going to melt styrene. I think the first time I learned that was when I tried to drain a carburetor into a styrofoam coffee cup, and it didn't even slow down on its way to the floor. So that was a pain. I think it was Black Magic Craft had a video, and he went through all the stuff I did, essentially looking for the best way to glue foam together, and he wound up with Gorilla Glue and Great Stuff foam. So in my mind, that's all you use now. If you want to glue XPS foam together, use Gorilla Glue. And that's the end of this contest journey. But I've got a lot more projects lined up. So if you liked what you saw, make sure you come back and join me for those. And let me know what you thought of this one down below in the comments. What was good, what was bad, what I could have done better. And thanks for watching.